Hey everyone, today I want to go over the seasonality indicator that I made for TradingView. You can get it by going to indicators and typing in seasonality. That's going to be this one right here by Trade for Op. And essentially what this is doing is aggregating all the data on the daily time frame going back 23 years on this particular chart and seeing how price tends to perform through the months of the year. But we can also do a quarterly view and also a daily view as well. And essentially, if you overlay this onto a chart, so right here I'm on the NASDAQ futures, we can see January tends to be a fairly strong month, and it was. February, relatively weak, and it was again. March, April, May, pretty much a steady climb, and that's what we're seeing here. And since we know how price tends to perform throughout the year, we can basically take an average of that and then find when it tends to make highs and lows throughout the year. So you can enable seasonal pivots. I'm going to turn off the table and the analysis for now. And what I like to do is bring this to the top chart. And since I have this setting turned on to anchor all this data to the beginning of the year, and I have these quarterly dividers on, you can see that this first day is marked by the first trading day of the year. And then we have the seasonal high, which was only 1 bar off from this swing high in February, and then a seasonal low later in March, which was only 2 bars off from the bottom before a new leg up. So obviously this is not going to predict highs and lows throughout the year 100% accurately, but what you can do is get a sense of when highs and lows tend to form over the many years that you can collect, and then see how that applies to the current day. So we can see how this performed on the previous year as well with a manual offset. So you can see down here that this quarterly line is starting on January 3rd, which is the first trading day of the year. And you can see the same thing where a seasonal high was pretty close to this swing high. A seasonal low was pretty perfect before this bounce. Another high right here that started a leg down, a high right here that was very short-lived, seasonal low that wasn't accurate, seasonal high where this proceeded to go a little lower before bouncing, and then ultimately this seasonal low, which was pretty much the bottom of the entire year. Again, I wouldn't rely on this data to try to predict highs and lows, but it's just another tool for analysis that could be helpful. And if I bring this back below, I actually want to go to the daily time frame, turn on the analysis and take off the pivots for now. And from this view, what I like to look for here is some outliers, for example, where you have these really strong bullish days and really strong bearish days, and even these clusters of green and red candles that could make up a, week or month-long trend. And you can just see how well those line up to the present day in certain cases. So we have a cluster of 4 bullish days in a row. If I draw a rectangle around that, we can see that we just have a straight trending week. If I do that again over here, starting on this pretty strong bullish day, we can see that again, and we have another nice pop. We can try on a bearish cluster as well, and we can see that lines up with a daily downtrend pretty nicely. And by the way, this script is completely open source, so for anyone who wants to check out the code, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm sure we could make some improvements and bring some new features to this along the way. Just as another example, maybe we can just go to Forex and try Euro USD. So we can see we're starting at the beginning of the year again. We have a seasonal low marked out right here. And obviously it'd be best to combine this with some extra context so you have price retracing into a daily fair value gap and order block, sees a new leg up, and then you have the seasonal high right before the current leg down. So yeah, I think this could be a pretty useful tool for some higher time frame analysis if you're trying to get bias and ultimately get a reading on where your higher time frame expansion might be. So I have this info in the table as well, where you can see major lows and highs are made in these months, but it might be cool to get a little more specific and see, how far away are we from making the next seasonal low or seasonal high? Maybe build this into a dashboard in a sense and be able to see multiple symbols and how far away they are from making their seasonal highs and lows. Obviously, take this stuff with a grain of salt. This is just a collection of data over time, and past performance obviously does not indicate future results, but it is nice to evaluate what has happened in the past and see how that compares to the present day. But anyways, I'll leave the link to this indicator in the description for anyone that wants to try it. That's all I have for now, and I'll see you in the next one.